Welcome back, everyone. It's your boys, Zack and Jake Kessler, the Tiermakers themselves, here for a special holiday edition of the Tiermakers. Today, we are going to be ranking the league, the Raffle League, of course, in how good people would be at being Santa Claus himself. Jake, why don't you give us a little intro here?
Yeah, so we are taking a look at how you would rank as a Santa overall. So a bunch of factors could be considered. Number one, how jolly are you? What is your body mass could be
Yep.
considered. If you have, kind of a jovial personality, a giving personality is definitely part of it. How good you are with animal handling, such as reindeer and the
Mhm.
like. All things will be considered here. As always, we do accept bribes. So if you want to see this and want your rank moved up, let me know. Um, yeah, I think it's about it. Anything you'd add, Zachary?
Yeah, no, just in general, your Christmas spirit. I think that's a big one, I would say. And just sort of in general, if you're allowed near children, I think that's a plus. So we'll get into the list here and see just where everybody falls.
Yeah. Starts off with we have Sean. Sean, obviously, he lives in Michigan.
Yep.
Um, I don't think of Michigan as a very big Christmas state. I think of Michigan as just kind of a normal state, if I
Mm.
if I had to guess. I bet they really like the 4th of July, if I had to guess.
Yeah, they
So
seem like sort of a barbecuing state.
yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, Sean himself, he has red hair. It's a Christmas color.
That's a good point. Um,
He's he's not he's not thick
Not that
like a normal Santa.
he's built like a string bean.
Yeah.
Um, I think that if I were to rank Sean, just gut reaction, and let you tell me where you think up or down. I think Sean gives me big Father Christmas vibes.
Yeah,
Just
it's not a bad place to start. I mean, we can always compare either way. I think one thing that does knock him down is that his fantasy football team was so good this year. He wasn't a giver. He
no, he
he
wasn't.
was mostly a taker in fantasy football this year because he
Hmm.
took away all of our joy. And I guess I'm happy with a C on that for now. Maybe we move him up or down, but
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
go.
see where everybody else shakes out, but I think that right now, I think Sean strikes me as the kind of guy who might tell his child to call him father instead of dad. So I think maybe that's what's sticking out to me a little bit for Father Christmas. Um, but we'll see how it pops up.
Oh man, I don't know if he's gonna like that one.
I
Next
do
on our
want to do a
list is
quick ad break here. Of course,
Subaru.
Tiermakers is sponsored. This month only, you can get a new Subaru, the 2024
Right.
Subaru Forester, for only a 335-month lease if you are qualified lessee, of course.
Right.
Check out your local Subaru retailer to check out the new $335 a month lease for the Subaru Forester.
You want to
Let's
look like a lesbian. It's a great car to own. Also very fuel efficient.
Very
So
fuel
people don't
efficient.
people don't think about that. But
Yep.
there's that. Zach, you're next.
Let's
I
do
don't
it.
know. Do you have a case to state for yourself here?
Um, I think that as far as some of the things that we're talking about here, body mass definitely on the higher side of things. Has current facial hair, not Santa hair, but facial hair. I do think that I am on, the higher side of the league in that situation.
I
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Jolly-ish, but I would say how much of that is a bit of my own
Right.
making?
Right.
So for me, I'm kind of thinking that John Travolta in that one commercial is where I'm foreseeing myself landing on this list. I don't think I'm literally Santa. I don't think that I have the sort of work ethic around toy making to be
Right.
literally Santa. And I
Right.
think going around town, with the Capital One card or whatever it is more my style.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. I was gonna put you in A, Kris Kringle, because out of
Interesting.
people that actually celebrate Christmas and decorate and have a Santa hat and things like that, you are one of the people that has that.
Yeah.
Regarding your facial hair, you remind me exactly of the snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I don't know if you remember that guy.
Oh, I
That's
just
what your
watched that on the
facial,
plane.
yeah,
Yeah.
spot on.
What's his name? Sam? Sam the Snowman, I think. Someone in the chat is going crazy. Um,
That's your facial hair right there.
AKA Sam the Snowman. All right, I was
That's
right.
right. Played
Hey,
by
I'll
Burl
take it.
Ives. Yeah.
I would absolutely rock that fit. I
Ah,
think. Oh, ads. All right, so I would rock that fit. I'm happy with that. So I would if you're good with Chris Kringle, I'm also good with.
yeah. I think you're jolly. I mean, you do toe the line of jolly and cynical, if that's the spectrum we're working on, but
Yeah,
um, it's December. It's the season.
yeah.
Next up here
Yeah.
is Cy Sunkum.
Ooh,
Personal fantasy football annoyances out of the way, even though Cy did compliment me on the last podcast, so I can't feel that bad. Um, Cy, is he jolly? He's got a good laugh. He's got a good laugh. It feels good to make Cy laugh because, I feel like he's not just a automatic, kind of guy.
yeah.
That's a good quality in a Santa.
Yeah. Santa, I really feel like has a sort of comes around once a year sort of vibe. And if there's one thing about Side that I know for sure, it's that he's coming once a year.
That's right. He does come once a year. I mean, he probably comes every day, but he comes to town
He
once a
comes
year.
to town once a year. And
I,
I
I
think
mean, I
that,
have seen Snapchats of him in like Apple Valley. Didn't get a text, but
no,
I do
neither.
know that he was around. So maybe he just doesn't want to see us more than once a year. But
Yeah. So I think maybe and he is on that high end of the earning spectrum. He probably
oh,
would have that Capital One card or whatever John Travolta is using in that one
yep,
commercial. So maybe we set him there as sort of, he's on that upper end of Santa qualities, but there's a couple things, height, body mass that are maybe not on his side to move him up into literally Santa.
yeah, no, I like it. I like the call there. James Terhar next, one of the commissioners, obviously
Mhm.
put together quite the series of podcasts this year.
Yep.
Put together quite the uh quite the wild goose chase.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, Mildred did.
mysterious Mildred put together quite the
Yeah.
wild goose chase. That's giving. He's a giver in that sense.
Yeah.
But I think one of
He
the ways
literally
that
gave his team away to Mysterious Mildred to run
that's
this
right.
year.
That's right. I think one of the ways that James falls short is purely based on build and stature.
Yeah.
I mean, he's tall,
Certainly tall.
but he's hairless completely from the eyebrows down, and
Yeah.
he's not a thick boy. He's a tall boy, not a thick boy.
Yeah. Maybe you're thinking more on, are you thinking Chris Kringle level or are you thinking John Travolta in that one commercial?
Yeah, I don't even B or C for me. I think he's
Father
kind of falling
Christmas
in
all the way
between.
down there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, the
I mean, he
build
is
is
a giver.
really, I'm really struggling with the
Uh,
build. I think if some child were to sit on his lap, they would leave with, a butt ache because of
there's a
how
chance the
bony it
child is
is.
bruised.
The
Yeah, there's
child
a
is
chance.
bruised
Yeah,
from such a hard surface.
that's right.
All
He's playing
right, Father
soccer right now
Christmas it
too.
is.
Yeah, Father Christmas. Yeah. So far, similar body profiles in the
Yeah,
Father Christmas movie.
I'm wondering if that's the theme. Well, there's a few on here that similar body profiles are gonna be even lower. I can already tell.
They kind of have to be. They kind of, you can't have everybody in the middle.
You know what they say in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, nobody wants a skinny Santa.
That's
That's,
right. That's right.
so we can't be having skinny Santas near the top. If that's a spoiler for some other boys on this list, I mean, so be it. But that's as the tier makers, we would not be doing our jobs if
That's
we
right.
did not listen to the rules set in 1964 by Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. And that movie definitely is politically correct even today. So yeah.
It was honestly it was better than I thought it was
I,
gonna
I don't
be.
mean to I don't mean to derail this conversation.
No, there were a few things in there that I was like, oh, okay, like I there's maybe the metaphor is a little bit more apt today than it was maybe intended at the time, but it holds up.
Yeah. Next on our list here is Dr. Matt Zabel. again, I won't. I'll hold personal bias aside. As of this week in fantasy football, facial hair is on point, and
Yep.
he's not tall. And I think in previous iterations of Matt Sable, he was thicker. I think he's in a good,
Yeah.
strong body, posture ways. But, he's not portly.
I
He's
think
not
I
he's
think
not all
the
the way
word
up
that
there.
Matt Zabel used to describe himself in like seventh grade, if I remember correct, was plump, which
Yeah,
is just not an apt descriptor anymore. But nevertheless, I think that sort of that jovial sense of that time of his life
yeah.
has carried through into this more trim build that he carries now as Dr. Matt Zabel.
Yeah,
Uh,
I thought your descriptor was going to be a tuna can, and I thought that was going to go on a completely different path. But I mean,
no.
one benefit that he has is that he is a river person, and I feel like that kind of
Mhm.
attitude, laissez-faire, Santa's going all across every nation and he's invading people's homes because he,
Yep.
he can, right? And I think Matt Sable kind of embodies that attitude too. Um, I think that's a plus for him.
He's certainly a giver. That's for sure.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
true.
I think this is our first literally Santa, if you had asked me.
Oh, I don't know. I was gonna put him in A tier. Maybe we move him up if we get some more comparisons
Okay,
going here.
all right, that's fine. That's fine.
There you
All right.
go.
All right. Let's talk Luke here. Uh, Luke Conway has the build. Has the build
Yeah,
for a Santa. He's got that height.
man. I would love to sit on his lap.
There's a lot of those pictures in the group me from the calendar shoot that I think everybody wanted to sit in his lap that night.
Yeah, yeah. Is that a roll of quarters in his pocket?
To roll a $50 if you ask me, but yeah.
Oh, if you ask Jenna. Yeah, Luke, he's a generically just kind of a happy guy, I feel like. And I
Yeah.
think that's good on the holiday season.
Hmm.
He's really he's good around, children. I've seen it in action. He's good with his nieces and nephews. He likes Disney, so he's
He
like
does.
already kind of there with some, toy aspects and things like that. I think he's making a strong case himself. He does have a couple qualities. He can sometimes be, you know, a little cynical or analytical, which, maybe not the Christmas spirit, but I think they
Yeah,
have a lot
but
of decorations up at their house right now too. So,
I think that one example that pops to mind as far as the analytical, but also very giving, is last year during the fantasy football year, and Bug Type Jim was on the struggle bus, knew we needed to make a big trade to save the season, traded away our first round pick of Jamar Chase, and Luke made a big old spreadsheet about projections and all that stuff, but eventually ended up giving me the pieces needed so that both of us could succeed in our respective areas. Luke in the playoffs, obviously, me making it to the playoffs, keeping that streak alive. He's making a strong case for himself on that giving side. Bringing what
yeah,
people want.
I like it. And,
Uh,
out of all the laps I'd sit on, it might be his number one.
yeah, I like it too. Do it. I know what you want to do. Absolutely. All right, we're gonna take another quick ad break here with Hill's
Hill's
Science Diet
Science Diet.
for dog nutrition,
Yep.
which is of course available at PetSmart and all of your
Right.
other local retailers. But
If
Hill's
you
Science
order now, you
Diet
can get it by Christmas. Yeah.
is very important for your little pooch's gut health.
That's right.
And if you want them to not be, having those tummy troubles over the Christmas holiday while you're maybe got all your family in town, you don't want to hear any weird screams or see a dog rub its butt across the carpet, switch over to Hill's Science Diet.
Right.
And available at PetSmart.
Next on the list is me, and I'll let you take it, to start with here. I'll see if I need
We'll
to
do some
clean up.
self-evaluation first.
I certainly don't think I'm at the top. Um, my Christmas spirit this year weirdly is higher than other years. I mean, we have a Christmas
Mhm.
tree, and a pile of laundry on the floor. Ignore that.
Natch, yeah,
We
of
have we
course.
have lights, and I have lights outside, but I don't think I've donned a Christmas sweater this year thus far.
Yeah.
It's a little here or there. I mean, I think I'm a decent gift giver.
Yeah.
Probably have to ask Anna on that one, but you know,
I think if I had to start an analysis, my as we started with everything, there's two types of things I'm looking at. Body type, I think you got the mass to be not a skinny Santa.
hmm
And number two is that sort of giving nature. And one of the things you're very good at is anytime someone comes over, first question you always ask is if someone wants a drink.
well,
And there's the Instagram account everybody should go follow, Cocktails with Jake. I
oh
if you want
God,
some good recipes, but you got that bar, you're always behind there, serving up a stiff drink for anybody who comes sauntering up. So
not the
right
only
now
thing
I'm
that's
I'm
stiff.
feeling Chris Kringle as far as
Oh man,
those aspects of it.
I definitely take it. I definitely take it. All right, everybody's tallest fantasy football friend, Jackson Chalio,
Yep.
is up next. Just to start us off with build wise, it makes sense. He embodies what it means to be Santa Claus
I would
in
agree.
in physical stature, and I think that's a really good thing. Um, you know, Historically speaking, Jackson's been pretty good at giving gifts. He's a giver. He'll always send that text out, after an event and say, "Hey, had a great time,
Yeah.
looking forward to the
Good
next
at
one,
thank you
kind of
notes.
thing." Yeah, he's fantastic at that. And combined, him and Anna, they have a great Christmas setup
Mhm.
at their house. They got the lights up, they got the other stuff. I think he's got a strong case.
Yeah, I'm thinking just, what people really need to get them through the day.
Right.
What is it that people really want? And it's connection to others. That's just something that, people like to give. And also recognition when it's due. And one of the things that Jackson always makes sure to do is when people will submit clips that involve, maybe a little bit extra effort in the podcast episode, he'll always make sure to send that text saying like, "Hey man, really appreciated that song, that singing that you did. Graced my ears. I appreciate it." Those are the types of things you can really expect.
Sure.
The personal touch, and Santa's known for, personal touching. I would say.
Well, yeah, and I mean Jackson does love touching. Probably not as much as I do, but he's not
He's a
naughty to
toucher.
it.
Yeah.
You know.
So I think he's right up there, and this might be just I'm swayed by the build, but literally Santa.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think so too. All right, now we're back to
So
skinny boys.
yeah, we got a couple skinny boys, we got a couple, others. So it's gonna be interesting how these final four
Shape
four
out. Yeah.
shape out here. Andrew Smead, commissioner number original commissioner, I guess.
Yep.
Um, he had a first place year in fantasy football. He did give us some good podcasts. Um, he's currently living in Wisconsin, but he's moving back to Minnesota. I mean, that's a gift right there.
Yeah,
Um,
but I feel like that's sort of the one gift that he's given.
the one gift. Yeah,
So here's my thoughts. Number one, build wise, just can't do it. Absolutely
no,
cannot do it.
no,
Number two, is he a giver? No, he's won like what half the years of the league. He doesn't let anybody else
kind
in.
of a
He's
taker.
always towards the top. And especially this year, he was taken. He was take in those points against. Like he was not letting anybody else have an easy week. He was taking all of them for himself. And the third, and maybe the most damning one of all, is Santa has to be able to drink milk. And that simply is just not possible
It's a
anymore
tough
for
one.
the Andrew Smead. Um, do I think that he would be good around kids for extended periods of time as a mall Santa? I don't know. Right now, I don't think it's anything necessarily about the jolliness. I think it's just everything else. And I'm leaning towards the Grinch right now.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I'm fine putting him there for now, but we're gonna have to do a little bit of re-eval here at the end.
Yeah. He's between Mall Santa and the Grinch for me.
You like
If
right
we had
there.
like a D minus for like the Bumble, if he was in there from Rudolph, I might put him at the Bumble.
The Bumble and Yukon Cornelius are probably two of the best movie characters of all time.
Yeah,
Just to put
I
that out
love
there.
Yukon Cornelius.
if it was just jolliness, I think he'd be right up here with Cy.
Yeah,
But
I would agree.
all
But
all their factors considered, yeah,
yeah, he's right in there, and it's tough.
yeah.
It's tough to watch.
Next up is Clay Tucker, and Clay's an interesting case for me. Build wise, he's
He's got it.
putting himself up to the top. Um,
Hmm.
you know, I think he's always Clay's one of those guys who's always down to have a good time. I think that's a great attitude in the Christmas holiday.
Hmm.
He wants his dogs to mate, which I think is a great thing to do around Christmas as well. You got to procreate to
Yep.
repopulate the earth. Um, I guess in this case it's dogs. I haven't been to Clay's house in Mankato, but I I think if I had to guess, I think there's probably some Christmas lights and a Christmas tree up.
Probably.
And he just him and especially Tessa seems
Yeah,
like that kind of household, and I think that's a good thing. By the
I
way,
would agree.
maybe the one thing going against his case here is that the group chat participation and some of the other
Oh, I
things
didn't think about that. That's gonna knock some points down.
a little lower. It's
A
been
little
better
lower.
this year, I think. And the other consideration, I think Clay has tried harder in fantasy football this year than any other year in his existence, and he's like third place. So
Yeah. Wait, is he?
well, he was in like third or fourth place this
Yeah.
year. I think he lost last week, didn't
Yeah, he
he? Or
lost to James last week, I think.
out to James.
Now I remember he lost to James last week. That's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
I was really cheering for Clay there. Gonna be real.
Anybody but James or Andrew.
Yeah.
What are you?
So where are you thinking? Father Christmas level?
I was gonna go John Travolta or Chris Kringle.
Okay. All right, good. I wanted to have him up there. Well, let's put him in John Travolta in that one commercial right now. Just he's so personable and he's going around town,
Just
especially
a
now
great
that
guy.
he's Mankato instead of just Clay. Like I think he's got that sort of John Travolta energy these
I,
days.
I have a feeling that he's got a cult celebrity status in Mankato. That
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about that.
yeah. Next up is the David Book, military brat, having a good time. David, build wise, he doesn't stack up with the likes of
Doesn't
a
have it.
Clay or a Luke or a Jackson necessarily, but he does kind of have that vibe to him that he's really kind of a Christmas guy. I don't know about you. I just get the feeling that David likes hot cocoa as long as it's afternoon, and he likes Christmas cookies, and maybe spending time with a good book around a fire or something like that.
See, I was thinking absolutely the Grinchiest one of the lot was David Book.
All right, I was just trying
We
to
were trying
make
to be
it.
nice, but no, let's dive into it here. I wasn't even going to do an analysis. I thought we were going to just say the Grinch and move on. I think we
Yeah,
all know David Book. Is he a giver? Yeah, he's a giver of bad post-draft grades to most people other than himself.
right.
Is he jolly? Certainly not. Look at any picture of him. Even this one that we have, that's his smile level. That's barely just the tips of the lips moving up. I don't even think they're up at all in that picture. Um, when
Yeah.
what was that guy? And just sort of in general, just you try to read something to him and he'll just leave the call. He's not really as much of a participation guy like that. He's very smart, very kind on occasion. But generally speaking, jolly is far from the word I would use to describe David M. Book.
All right. I feel like that was much more harsh from you than our description of Andrew.
Yeah, I told you I
I
think
feel like
Andrew should be at like the Bumble level, which is not I should have we don't have the Bumble right now.
last but not least is Bryce Dallas Howard, and
Yep. I think we know where he belongs. If there's one person that wants a bunch of children to sit on his lap for extended periods of time, many days during the holiday season, it is Bruce.
yeah,
And that just fits the description of a mall Santa to me.
he gave everybody wins this year.
Not me. Not I'm very upset about that.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't admit that out loud. But
Half a point. Ugh.
don't talk to me about that. One thing he's got going for him, if I were to have a hire a male stripper for a Christmas themed party,
Ooh, sure.
it'd be Bryce.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be Luke.
Well, I wouldn't have to pay Luke. He'd just do it for free.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I don't know. Mall Santa, you think?
I just think that as someone who's going to have the energy to perform long enough to be a mall Santa, it's Bryce. It's not quite Father Christmas. I don't think there's any sort of gifting nature to it. It's more of a like on display type of thing that Bryce is going to have there. So I think mall Santa is where I would place him.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad call. So
Yes.
going through the list,
Yeah.
anybody sticking out as too high, too low, in comparison to the others in the row, do they make sense kind of thing? I think I have one that
Yeah.
that
I have one as well. I want to hear yours first.
based on your descriptions of Andrew and David, I
Yep.
think Andrew probably falls in the D tier
Okay.
rather than the F
Yeah.
tier.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And then I was gonna say I still think that Chris Kringle is maybe too high of a rating for me, and I was gonna drop me down to John Travolta
Mm.
in that one commercial.
I feel like you're jollier than me.
I feel like jolliness is only one aspect of it though,
Yeah.
and the giving nature is different. And I certainly look at any of those trades I send out most of the season when I get bored. I'm trying to take.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do sap a lot of joy from not allowing others to be in the playoffs. So,
That's true. It's
all
true.
right.
I
Yeah.
think drop it down. We have a nicer little bell curve then. I
It's a
think
better curve. It
it's
is
a
a better
better curve. I think, yeah.
curve.
If we were being true about where the curve should be, we should probably drop one more down in each of the top three to hit a better curve. But I think this is where I'm happy to leave it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Congrats to Luke and Jackson, I think. Matt Zabel, myself, getting good recognition.
Hmm.
Cy, Clay, you, Sean, James, almost there. Maybe a
Yep.
little bit more
Just pack on the
effort.
pounds in the next
Yeah,
year. I think maybe that really would help with raising that stature.
that's right. And Brandon, Andrew, David, maybe evaluate your life choices a little bit.
Yeah. I want to see more Holly and Jolly over the next calendar year, and maybe we'll reevaluate those bottom rankings.
Yeah, I totally agree.
All
Yeah,
right,
and
everybody.
with that, we'll post this in the old group me. But if anybody
Oh,
has
yeah.
objections, let us know. Again, we do accept bribes, and yeah, we'll be here. Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas to one
Thanks
and
all.
all.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!